life at knowing. Suggest before this light cannot be soul steady to image carries a hidden heaviness. Many January-born individuals who always holds it together. They are the ones people lean on, the ones who stay calm in storms, the ones who remember to turn off the lights and lock the door. But behind this grace is a heart that sometimes forgets how to laugh without restraint. Over time, the strength they've become known for can harden into silence. Their natural introspection may drift into isolation. The same wisdom that draws others to them can become the wall that keeps them apart. I once spoke with a man born on a bitterly cold January morning. He told me he always felt like he had to grow up quickly. By the age of 7, he was the one comforting his mother. By 16, he had already chosen a career that made sense, not one that stirred his spirit. He confessed that his life looked orderly and successful from the outside, but inside he felt hollow, like someone who had spent so long being dependable that he forgot how to dream. His days were filled with checklists, and his relationships were polite but distant. He had become a monument of reliability, yet he felt invisible in his own story. That moment broke something open. We spoke about Jung's idea of the sage archetype, the elder, who lives not only to guide others, but to evolve himself. The man realized that the structure he built to feel safe had also become his prison. He began to allow himself small, irrational joys. He'd bought paints even though he hadn't touched a brush in decades. He took a solo trip with no itinerary. He learnt to say, "I need," instead of "I'm fine." And in that soft rebellion, his wisdom didn't fade. It deepened. It became warmer, more human. He began to realize that true maturity doesn't mean silencing emotion, but honoring it. That being the elder soul doesn't mean carrying the world alone. It means knowing when to rest, when to laugh, and when to let others see your tears. Those born in January are not here to play the role of stoic guardians forever. Their gift is to bring structure to chaos, to anchor others in truth, and to carry timeless insight. But their deeper purpose is to become whole, not just strong, but also spontaneous. Not just wise, but also wild. Life is not asking them to choose between being the sage and being free. It is asking them to weave both into a new kind of strength, one that teaches by example how to live fully without losing oneself. And perhaps that is the secret January carries, that joy is not the opposite of wisdom, but its deepest companion. When they allow their inner lightness to rise, even in winter, they remind us all that every old soul was once a child of stars. If January is the soul of ancient remembrance, then February is the heart that dreams of futures yet to be born. Those born in this month often carry a light that does not reflect what is, but what could be. They sense undercurrents that others miss, perceive patterns before they are obvious, and often feel like they are standing slightly ahead of time's curve. Their gift is vision, not just intellectual, but spiritual. But this gift can also become a burden. For seeing things differently often means feeling alone. They may walk through life like strangers in a familiar world, always reaching towards something they can feel but cannot yet name. This psychic distance can turn into quiet sorrow. Many February-born individuals grow up feeling like their inner world is invisible to those around them. They are labeled as odd, rebellious, or aloof, when, in truth, they are simply tuned to a frequency few others recognize. Their ideas may be too big for the room, their emotions may not arrive in expected ways. And in this difference they may begin to withdraw, not out of pride, but out of quiet grief that no one truly sees them. What was once a gift of originality may harden into emotional isolation. Their brilliance, instead of being shared, becomes a private shelter they retreat into when the world feels too noisy, too surface level, too bound by rules that never made sense to them. I remember meeting a woman born in February who described herself as living on the edge of the real. She was a poet, though she rarely shared her work, and often said she felt like she had conversations with life that no one else heard. She had tried to conform, joined clubs, worked a structured job, even married a man who loved routine, but nothing ever truly fit. It was as if her soul kept asking for something more vivid, more honest, more alive. She admitted that some days she questioned whether something was wrong with her, whether this ache to live differently meant she was broken. But as we spoke, what became clear was not her brokenness, but her brilliance. Her loneliness wasn't born of deficiency, but of depth. She had built bridges to futures no one else had yet dared to cross. Jung would say this is the path of the visionary, the revolutionary spirit, who carries archetypal energy that stretches beyond the norm. The February soul is not here to blend in, but to shake the dust off old structures and breathe life into forgotten truths. But their transformation begins not by waiting for others to understand them, but by claiming their own authenticity, whether or not it is mirrored back. The woman eventually left the life she had tried to mold herself into. She moved to a quieter town, began teaching art to children, and started sharing her poems. They were raw, untamed, and hauntingly beautiful. And suddenly, the very parts of her that once felt like liabilities became the source of her belonging. People didn't just hear her, they felt her. This is the shift that February births are called to embody. Not to hide their difference, but to ground it in real connection, to stop waiting for the world to reflect them perfectly, and instead become a mirror for those still searching for their own inner voice. Their originality is not a mask, it is the blueprint of something sacred that wants to enter the world through them. When they find the courage to stop performing and start living as they are, they build it. To be born in March is to carry the waters of the unseen, the tide